I'm just starting. Okay. Everything okay? Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Makeover Monday, Week 19, Watch Me Viz. I'm going to go ahead and get started. If somebody could please just leave a quick comment in the chat and let me know if you can hear me okay, that'd be great. Otherwise, I might talk on for a long time and nobody's listening. So this week we're looking at the cost of 1 gig of data, mobile data, in every country. The original visualization is by Visual Capitalist. And let me actually zoom out a bit. Let me open this up in a new, just the image in a new tab so it kind of fits. Let's see, there we go. So it all fits in one view now. And what we can see here is we have basically every country's flag, which is a really, really terrible way to represent this data. And we have for some, the kind of top to bottom, or the scale from the bottom to the top is the average price. That's fine, but then there's left to right, which I don't understand what it means going left to right, because I don't see an axis going left to right, so it must be just kind of jittered so they spread out. There's some insights around it, but overall, comparing the size of circles is quite difficult. I also don't think that they need to use the size here because the scale on the y-axis already tells you what the value is. So they're kind of double encoding with both the size and the value, and maybe that's what that could also be contributing to how cluttered the visualization looks. The data itself is pretty simple. And I'll turn my camera back on. So the data itself is pretty simple. It's just the country, the average price of 1 gig of data. Everything's in US dollars, which is good. And then the rank. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't think I can do it from here, but can I go ahead and, yeah, I can't create the number format from here, so I'll do that elsewhere. So let's go to the sheet. And the rank is not something I want to summarize or add or anything, so I'm just going to move my rank to be a dimension instead, and I'm going to go ahead and default the number format for my price to be a custom number, and I'm going to put a $sign in there. So now if we just build a simple chart and sort descending, we get the most expensive to the least expensive. If I go the other way around, you can see it goes India, Israel. I could use this rank field if I wanted to, but it's going to just give me the same results. So, right, so what are some things we could do with this? I guess, of course, the simplest thing is to just sort it, which is fine. Maybe I put a reference line on here, or maybe an average line on here, and that just kind of tells me who's above and below the average. So now what I would probably do on this reference line, if I can hover over it just right, and I'm going to edit my reference line, and on my label I'm going to make it custom. I'm just going to type in AVG, and then I'm going to insert the value. That way I know what the average is for the reference line. I'll go ahead and turn my tooltip off, and I'm going to make it maybe a black line, and I'm going to untick the recalculate. So if I wanted to know kind of which ones are above or below, so what I could do here is I'm going to create a new calculated field, and I'll call this above or below average. And I'm going to look at the sum of the price, and I'm going to, is that greater than? And then the reference line you can represent as a window average. So it's the window average and then the sum of the price. And hit OK. And if I drag that onto the tooltip, or sorry, onto the color, you can see I get nice little colors that go above or below. And maybe I'll go ahead and set up some custom numbers here. So let's say the more expensive I'm going to make red, the less expensive I'll make maybe a light blue, and we get something like that. So yeah, we could always also count the number of countries that are above or below. So to do that, well, it's probably just going to be half and half if I had to guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Malawi, and I'm going to go down here, hold the shift key down. Oh, it doesn't let me do that. So let me just fit entire view. And if I lasso, maybe starting here, if I lasso these, so we get 53 countries are above and there's probably more than 53 below then. So that's how many? That's 102 below. Okay, so you could maybe do an above or below the average price or something like that. So let me just change it back to standard view. So if I wanted to count the number of countries that are above or below, I probably would be better off changing this to a level of detail expression. But let's figure out if we can create this, do this reference line as a level of detail expression first. So let's create a calculated field. I'm going to call this my average across countries. And I believe all I want to do is just take the average of the price. So average price, something like that. And when I put just the mustachios at the beginning or the end without a fixed or an include or an exclude, that's just going to give me the overall average. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm just going to drag that onto the label shelf for now and just make sure I get the right value. So 370, 3.748, and if I look at my reference line, is 3.75. Okay, so I'm actually going to now change this, my true false, and I'm just going to make this, instead of this even being a sum, I could just make it, I don't need it to be aggregated because I only have one row per country anyway. So I'm just going to do the average price. Is that greater than the average across countries? So this is going to give me a row by row calculation because I've not aggregated the data. And this error is out, which is fine. I'm going to remove that. And let me put that on color now. And let's change our colors. Okay, and now we should still have 53, so entire view. So we have 53 again. Is that right? So we get 53. Okay, good. So, all right, so let's change that to standard. So this is our variance to average. Or this isn't a variance to average. This is just, I'll just call this average reference line. So if I wanted to count the number of countries that are above or below, I'm just going to put the above or below in the on the columns, and then I'm going to just right-click and drag my country to the rows, or actually maybe I'll just right-click and drag country to the text, and I'll make it a count distinct. So now we can see there's 153 above and 102 below. I'm going to change my aliases for my true and the false. So my true is going to be above, and my false is below. And okay. And I could rearrange these. So maybe I put the above to the left of the below or something like that. Okay, so if I wanted to make this, actually let me edit the aliases again. So below average and above average. To make this a nice looking big number, I'm going to go ahead and put that true false onto the text as well. And now when I edit my text, I can move this below the country. And maybe I'll make this a nice big number. And maybe make it bold. And let's see what that looks like. Yep. So then we could maybe center and center. From here, I'd go ahead and hide the header. And yeah, so that's pretty good. I could maybe make, oops. I could maybe make it a bit wider if I need to give it a bit more room. Something like that. Okay, and then maybe I color code that as well. So there we go. So I think that looks pretty good. And then this one I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of my tooltip. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not, but I just, when I did the one with the reference line, this kind of helps me know how many are above and below. So it just gives me a bit of context. Now another take on this is we could look at the variance to the reference line. So let's do variance to reference line. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new calculated field. So variance to average. And this is just going to be the average price minus my average across the countries. And now I should get a nice little diverging bar chart. Let's sort that descending. And now you can see some are above and some are below. So if I put my above or below on color, now this is doing the same thing, except my kind of average line is at 0. So to make this look a bit better, what I would do here is I'm going to format the view, and I'm going to set my 0 line to be maybe a line, maybe make it a bit thicker and black, something like that. But one of the things I don't like about doing a line this way, you see how it might be a bit hard to see. Let me, if I can turn this on. I don't know if you're going to be able to. It doesn't look like that's working. Show. Okay. Well, I was trying to show a way to kind of zoom in the data. But anyway, you can see that like the 0 is behind the bar. Sorry, the 0 line's behind the bar, which is a bit annoying. So to get around that, I'm going to put in a constant line at 0. And then I'm going to edit that line, turn off the label, turn off the tooltip, and just make this maybe a black line. So because it's a reference line, it's now in front of the data. And if somebody hovers over it, and they can't really see anything anyway. If I want to make it a bit thicker, I could just choose a thicker line maybe. Okay, so that's another option. So that tells us maybe above or below. Maybe put the labels on. So this should be, so all of these default properties, number, format. Let's put it like that. Okay, and then what I would do here is I'd probably shrink my mark label down, maybe have it match the mark color. I like Tableau Medium for my labels, something like that. So, so that looks pretty good. Another thing I could do is if I, let me put the countries on here again. And now what I want to do is I want to be able to compare. So let's say instead of comparing to the average, like I did maybe here, let's say I want to compare to a particular bar that I click. So how do all countries compare to, let's say, South Korea? So to do that, I'm going to create a, let's see, what's the best way to do this? I'm going to go ahead and create a set based on country. So create a set. I'll just call it my country set. Maybe I want to pick something I can actually see right now. I'll pick the US. And if I put that on color, you'll see the US is in the set. So I want to get the average price in set. Okay, so here I'm just going to use integer. And this is going to convert my country set into a 1 or a 0. So, and then I want to multiply that by the average price. So let me show you what happens there. I'm going to put that onto label so you can see what it does. So I get a price for the US and everything else is 0. Now, to make everything a comparison to the US, I need to then have this 8 and I need to compare it to each of those bars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this whole thing in a level of detail expression. And now you'll see all of them become, nope, that's wrong. Average price in set, so I did this wrong. So because I'm doing the average there, I could just make this a max because the rest of them are going to be 0. There we go. So now this is returning to the US. So now because I have that value for the US, I can compare every country to that value. So if you look at my tooltip, that 8 is everywhere. I need it to be like that in order to write this comparison calculation. So I'm going to call this one, actually, why don't I'm just going to duplicate this one because it already has the right number format. Let's call this variance to selected country. And then this is going to be the average price minus the average price in set. And if I put that onto the columns, you'll see the US becomes 0. So let me get rid of that. The US is here at 0, and everything else is a comparison to that. So what I could also do is maybe put that on color. So now we can see the variance a bit better. Right. So now what I want to do is I want to create a set action that allows this to update based on the country I pick. So I'm going to go up to Worksheet Actions, and I'm going to add a Change Set Values action. So update country set. I want to update my country set, and when I deselect, when I don't click a country, I'm going to remove all values, and that'll just set it back to that regular bar chart. Okay, so I click on Taiwan, everything moves to Taiwan. I click off, and now it goes back to a regular bar chart. But I don't like how this is highlighted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another calculated field. It's going to be my dummy, and I'm going to call it the highlight. Did I spell highlight right? Isn't it H? How the heck do you spell? Oh well. Let's just call this dummy. By the way, if you're watching, stick in the chat where you're from. I'm always curious to see where people are dialing in from. I'm going to put that dummy onto detail, and I'm going to add a worksheet action that is going to be a highlight action. So I'm going to call this one highlight dummy. In my selected fields, I'm just going to pick dummy and hit OK. And now when I click on one, notice it's still highlighted, but at least I can see the other bars now. So what's neat is I can now turn on animations. So let's see, where do I do that? Format animations. Oh boy. There we go. Let's turn them on. And let's maybe make them medium. And now if I click on a bar, you can see everything adjusts to that bar. There you go. Like that. Everything adjusts, click off, and then we're back to 0. Hi, John. I've never been to Mumbai. I've been to, where have I been in India? I went to Hyderabad. Accra, Ghana. Oh, very nice. I like seeing where people get the Philippines. Wow, all over the world. This is great. India. All right. India is a big country, Neha. What part of India? Seattle, Washington, with my coffee and my Tableau t-shirt from 20. Oh, nice. Dimitri, it's quite early. Okay. All right. So, yeah, so this is a neat way to maybe show. This might look a bit better if I set it to entire view. It makes it a bit hard to find a country, but just to kind of show what it's doing, you can see everything updates according to that country that you pick. So I think that looks pretty cool. So this would be variance to set. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hide the field labels. All right. Let's see. So that's it for now. What other things could we do? I mean, you know, of course you can always do a map, but I would probably not do a map because it's going to be really hard. Well, these are all dots, so it might not be too awful. But if you make it a filled map, it's going to be like impossible to see anything. So I would maybe leave it as circles. And then let's put, let's see, above or below average. We put that on color. Maybe we can see, yeah, so we can see, actually this shows things are really pretty distributed, which is interesting. Okay, if we use our variance to select a country on color. Okay, so right now that's that. I could put my set action on here too, but I'm just going to pick one for now. Yeah, so that doesn't work very well with the map. I actually do kind of like this above or below average. I think that looks pretty good, or even the price of 1 gig, if we put that on color. Let's see. So our average, let's see, what was our average in the data set? So our average was, 375. So what I'm going to do for my colors on the map, average price, default, let's see, color. I'm going to make it a stepped colors. And I want to use those Makeover Monday colors that I just used. Okay, let me just get the hex codes for those. So this is going to be my red, and then that's going to be my blue. Okay, so now if I put this back onto color, let's set the default color. I'm going to make it a, let's see, if I click here, I want to make it a diverging color palette. Let me just start with something, it doesn't really matter. Maybe I'll do something like this. And my red, let's see, so this is going to be the lower part, so I'm going to put that there. And then my upper end is going to be D13034. If I hit apply, so advanced, so my center is going to be, gosh, what was it, 3.75. That's going to use that kind of as my median. And I'm not going to choose it to fit the full color range yet. So I'm going to hit apply. And that doesn't really look very useful. Let's see, so average price 375, probably because we have, yeah, because the range is so high. So let me color, use full color range. Still might not look that great. Okay, so that's not very useful. Is it washing out? Nope. So that's not a very good color palette for this then. So let me change it to maybe, let's see, so we want red to be high. Yeah, that's not much better either. What if I choose, I need something with a bit more range in it. I like this orange to aqua. Let me reverse that. But again, this one doesn't let me, this is just a, I would need that to be a diverging color palette. Okay, well, either way, you know, if we put that on size, what does that look like? Let me just take this off color for now. And get rid of the halos, get rid of the borders. Okay. The problem now is it's really hard to see because it's super busy. What if I increase the size a bit? And then I want to sort these with the, come on, we want to do it by the field. We want to do average price. And if we do ascend, I just want to make sure that the circles, the smaller circles come in front of the bigger ones, which I don't, it's hard for me to tell if that's working or not. So let me put a border on. Okay, yeah, those circles are in front. So average price, let's put that on color. Yeah, so you get something like that, which really makes the outliers stand out. But that's about all that it does. So another thing we could do, so this is just our, I'll just call it map, is we could look at, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a tile map of the world. I know we've probably looked at them. Oh, let's see, so where else are people from? Elgin, Texas, east of Austin. I love Austin, what a great city. Fort Myers, Florida. Oh, I went to college in St. Petersburg, Florida, at Eckerd College, if you've heard of that, Matthew. From Mexico, Guadalajara. I've never been to Mexico. Bangalore, Denver, and Croatia. Oh, very cool. Croatian girl in the UK. All right. So I don't know if you've ever seen a tile map. So let's call this tile map. Let's see, world tile map. And if I show you some pictures, it would be something kind of like, if you're familiar with sort of like the tile maps of the U.S., the idea is kind of similar. Come on, it's going very slow. It'd be something like this, where you can either use squares or hexagons or something like that. So let's see if we can kind of mimic what's going on in this one. So this is by Neil Richards. And so this is something, Neil actually did this for Makeover Monday a while ago. And what we could do is we could maybe use his template to sort of see how it looks. So I think he had a link in here. So there we go. So there's the link. Come on. Okay, so that's a hex map. And, oh, there we go, multicolor. I think the multicolor and the one color, it's the same layout, I believe. Yes, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just select all the marks. And then I'm going to right click. Is it right click? No, I want to go down to download, and I'm going to show the data. Okay, and this gives me kind of the row and the column, the code, the continent, and the holiday name. So I'm going to download all rows. And let's see here. So show that. Okay, let's see what that looks like. All right, so we can get rid of that. That's the code. Okay, continent. All right, great. So I'm going to save this as, I'm going to save it in my own files. Come on, sometime today. Let's call this one country tile map. Or no, world tile map would probably be better. No. Let's resave that file, save as. Let's go here, change it to an Excel workbook. Okay, so now the issue I may run into is that some of the countries may not be named the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this open for now. I'm going to go back into Tableau, and let me just go to a new sheet, and I'm going to edit my data source. And I'm going to go into, how many countries do I actually have in here anyway? So 155. Okay, so I want to edit my data source, and I'm going to open, and I'm going to add another data source, Excel, and let's go to okay, hit open. Okay, and they're connecting by country. Okay, so that's good. But see, now what I need to see here is I'm going to make it a left join so that I can see if I have some country names that don't match. So let's see. So all good so far. So let me, yeah, that's okay. So let's go here. Do all the names match up perfectly? Let's see. Oh, here we go. So here's where we have country names that don't match. So, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into, it's probably because some of these, you see, so what this means is I have a set of countries here whose name doesn't match up with something in this tile map. So, like for example, if I find, let me just sort these. So, sort, and let's go to, yeah. So, for example, I can just replace this here. Oops. It's annoying. Okay, so that should be fine. Kuwait. So Kuwait isn't even in this one, which is interesting. Okay, what else do we have here? Western Sahara. Okay, Puerto Rico. So there's quite a few missing. Monaco. Eswatini. It just takes a few minutes to go through these. Okay, Russian, Hong Kong. Okay, Timor. Right. Russian Federation. I think it was just Russia in here. And Laos, Laopdr. It's probably just Laos in here. Okay, if I save that, and then I go back here and I refresh, I should see those countries kind of drop out of that list. Okay, so meanwhile, I'm going to go back here and look at the excuse me. Okay, so this is yeah. So this is I think there's an Excel template in here. Maybe that will help us around here. So let's download this, and maybe we can update. We can add the countries we're missing into the workbook. Oh wait. See if that works. Okay, so here we go. So, oh gosh, this is really hard to see. So what are some of the countries that we're missing now? So I'm going to keep just the nulls for now because that'll help us with finding the ones that we need. Okay, so Taiwan. Let's see if Taiwan is in here somewhere. Oh, this writing is super, super tiny. Okay, so Taiwan's not in there. Monaco. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do then is that. And we'll just kind of ignore those countries for now, I guess. So let's at least see what we can build. So the columns and the rows both need to be dimensions. And let's put column on the columns and row on the rows. And we can see something starting to kind of take the shape of the world. Let's make them all squares. Yeah, let's make them a bit bigger. Okay, oh, maybe too big. Okay, let me put borders on them just so we can see them a bit better. So then what we could do is we could put maybe the country code, no wait, what is it? The code onto the label. And let's center those. And then if we put the price on color, we can see something like that. Okay. So THA. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. So let's go to. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank as far as where. Sorry, there we go. Sorry about that. I just put it up so I wouldn't sneeze in your face. So we could probably put, just looking at this kind of space here, we've got a space between like below China and next to Korea. So I wonder if we could put, let me put country onto detail. So this is, and then China, Korea. So where would be the best place to put Taiwan? So you've got, it should go below Korea though. Mongolia. Maybe I'll just stick it there anyway. So this would be, so that's 24 and 8. This is 26 and 8. So let's add Taiwan. Let's get rid of this one. Let's add Taiwan. That'd be Asia. This is a lot of work. So what is Taiwan's abbreviation? Does anybody know Taiwan's abbreviation off the top of your head? Robert, is that better with the microphone? I think it probably is. Okay, so Taiwan, 3-character country code. TWN, okay. So TWN, I save that. And then what should happen now is when I refresh this data source, I should see Taiwan come in. There we go. So now we've got Taiwan there. So let me make this an attribute. Okay. So that's that. What other ones were we missing then? We were missing, let's go back here. Okay, Eswatini. Let's see if we can do the same thing here. Just trying to see if we can find maybe where we should place this on a map. Oh, come on. It's going so slow. So maybe it could go, so we've got Botswana. We could maybe stick it in here. NAM. Yeah, we'll stick it in here. So this will be Eswatini. Insert. This will be in Africa. And then what is the, so this is going to be, so row 20, and it'd be, so row 20 and column 17. So row 20, column 17, and then let's say Eswatini 3, gosh, it goes so slow, 3-letter code. So SWZ, okay. Oh, maybe that was, oh, that's probably Swaziland. Oh, okay. That's fine, I'll just leave it in there twice. All right, so that's that. And what I'll do is I'll just, so again, if I refresh this, you should see that drop off. I'll see if I can place the rest of these as well, like Puerto Rico could be maybe just to the side of the US. Oh boy. So, you know, we could put Puerto Rico, where's the US, like over here at 3 and 3. Why don't I just do that real quick? So 3, 3, Puerto Rico, and that would be in North America. And so PRI. So then again, once I refresh my data source, I'll see Puerto Rico show up next to the US. So before I publish this, what I'll do is I'll have, I'll go through the rest of those countries and I'll find maybe a place to stick them. So like, for example, Cambodia here is row 16. So what if I sort by row? So what if I sort by this? So sort, actually, let me do it this one first. So let's sort smallest to largest, and then sort smallest to largest. So if I look at row 16, what's one of the other countries I'm missing then? So I've got a hole here between Cambodia and Uganda. So Congo Democratic Republic. So yeah, but that's not in the data set anyway. Okay. But what we could do now with this map is we could even do a similar, so this is just showing us the cost of 1 gig of data. So let me exclude the nulls. Okay. Which is okay, but I wonder if we did, if you do maybe the variance to the average, you get something like that. So that kind of shows, so if we do maybe a different color palette, let's do maybe let's try the orange to aqua and see what that looks like. Apply. That's not very helpful. Orange to blue, maybe red to blue, and reverse it. Yeah, so that's okay. So that shows us kind of above or below. So this is tile above, below. Right, and then we could also look at variance to selected country. So right now we're looking at the US, or see which, I don't remember which country I picked, but if I go back over here, and if I pick that, so everything now, if I go over here, all the colors will change. Okay, so I could set up a similar action here. So worksheet actions, and I want to, actually I'm going to, I don't think I can pass the attribute to the action. Okay, so update country set. Okay, so that's that. Single select only. Okay, so the field is missing because it needs to have country in the view. So that's, so let's hit OK. So this needs to be not a this needs to be a dimension. So now if I click on country, you'll see everything changes to that, which is good. Okay. And what I want to do now is dash worksheet actions. I'm going to set up my dummy again. So okay, so now if I pick Nigeria, you'll see everything adjusts to Nigeria, Spain, etc. So click off of it, and then everything gets reset. Okay. So let's make this an orange to, let's see, red to blue and reverse it. Why is it 5? I didn't mean to click that. Yeah, so something like that. Maybe. And then it resets. Okay, I like that. So let's create a calculated field. So country selected. I want to say if country set, then country end. So if I put that onto detail, I should be able to add that to my title. So it's null right now. Okay, so country selected. If country set, then country. But that should only be bringing back one country right now, country selected. Okay. But I'm going to now set this up. Okay, so that'll be Ireland. Click off of that. And I should get null. Okay, so let's see, else all countries. Let's just do it like that. Let's see what happens. So Switzerland, click off, and it goes back to blank. Okay, so that's good. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the header. Get rid of that. Get rid of the tooltip. The code we don't need in the tooltip. Country selected we don't need in the tooltip. Dummy we don't need in the tooltip. And average price, let's put that on detail. Okay. Variance to selected country. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I think we're good there. So let me just go ahead and throw this into a dashboard now. And let's see, what size did Neil use? His was laid out really nice. What size is this? Let's see. Okay, that's fine. I'll just make it up. Okay. So let's go with, it feels like it needs to be more, yeah, something like that. So I'm going to bring in I probably could do this all in one sheet. So I'm going to bring this sheet in. And let's see, let's put it at 0, 0, 900, 800. And then let's put about 20 of inner padding on there. And then we can probably, shoot. Yeah, so what I don't like here is that my color legend doesn't look so great. So let me go back here. And let me just make this automatic and see what happens. And if I pick a country, everything adjusts to that country. Yeah, so maybe that's how I have to do it. So Tunisia. Oh, okay, I need to change my action worksheet. Action. So this now needs to be a dashboard action on dummy. Okay. This needs to be a dashboard action. Okay, so I click on that. I don't really think that I need the, so dashboard actions. I'm going to remove that and I'm going to add it as a filter action instead. No, that won't work. So add highlight action. This needs to go to the sheet. I think it's this one. And dummy. Okay, so I'm doing something wrong here with my action. This might need to be like that. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so that's going to work fine for when I pick a country. So format the sheet, and I want to get rid of my row and column dividers. That's good. But it goes blank when I do that. Okay. So I'm going to need to make this more like a dynamic title. So let's see, let's do something like this. Let's see, title, country, selected. Oh, I probably could just make it just a dynamic title anyway. So I'm going to say if country set, then I want to do something like and plus. Otherwise, I want to say no. Else, I want to say you know, I know this isn't quite right. Let's see, maybe I could just even borrow the title from the original. The cost of 1 gig. The cost of 1 Okay, so that's going to be valid, and I'm going to put that on the detail shelf. And then I should be able to just insert that into the title. Okay, so now let's go to our dashboard. And see, now I'm getting all because it's trying to bring back both the in and the out. Okay, so title. How did I do this before? No, one of these other calculations I did this. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to do something like this. So let's see. So if that's equal to 1, then I want to do that. Okay. Can't compare Boolean and integer values. Ah. Okay, I think I got that. So I click off. There we go. So that worked. Okay, so let me go back to that calculation and explain to you what that does. So the first thing I'm doing, so this part here, this integer, is just saying, so the country set, when you're in the set, you're a 1. When you're out of the set, you're a 0. So the maximum of those would always be 1 or 0. And if the maximum is 1, then I know I've picked a country, so I can create a custom title based on if they picked a country. Otherwise, I could just write a generic title. So basically, when this comes back, when this equals 0, then that means I do not have a country selected. Hopefully that makes sense. Is that clear? You could let me know in the comments. Hopefully it is. Okay, so then I'm going to show the caption. And what was our data source? Come on. Oh, I could just look at it and probably be quicker on the Makeover Monday data set webpage. Okay, so the data source is Visual Capitalist. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's that. By the way, I never heard back if you guys can hear from me or not. I hope so. Okay, so let me maybe make this a different font. Let's maybe make that 12. Oh, you know what? I probably could just put something in here as a subtitle. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's that. I was looking for maybe something. Okay. Yeah, maybe I just leave it like that. So then I think I'm going to just reorganize the dashboard a bit, maybe a bit more narrow, 800 by 800. Maybe I'll center this, make it Tableau, light, and bold. Okay, and then click on that, and there we go. Okay, so I don't know what I'm probably going to have to look at. Yeah, so this now goes to 2 lines, so I need to make that a smaller font. Might have to play around with it a bit till I get it just right, but yeah, so so that's it. Okay, I'm going to have to stop there. Have to get Maggie to parkour training class. There's still a couple of countries that we're missing from, so I'm going to figure out if I can get these into the map somehow. I need to just get my head around where they actually are in the world, and I would then need to add them into this Excel file, and then they should just show up on the map. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot, and if you have any comments or questions, let me know.